night, right?
Well, anyway, as you go down the mountain, which is where I was really worried about the brakes and trying to go in a lower gear and all this stuff, you get to this place where they're doing construction and there's one lane that they've got open, and they stop traffic on both sides for about 20 to 30 minutes while they let the traffic go through the other side. So when you get to the top of this thing, you get to this line of cars and you stop, and you know you're going to be there for half an hour, so you cut your car off. So we get down to this line of cars and we're like 20 cars back, and I put it in park, put the emergency brake on, cut the car off, and then we're just like chilling. We're like, this is so awesome. And we're bragging about the Bronco. We're like, this car is awesome. It's doing exactly what it was made to do. This thing is like right off the factory line, and we got it so cheap, and we look so cool, and everybody's looking at us like...
Right off the factory line, maybe not, but...
That's how I'm thinking in my mind. These guys are great. Look at them. They must go camping every weekend. Look, they're in a Bronco. It's brown.
We're sitting there for a long time. The sun's beating down on me, so I get out of the car. I take my shoes and socks off, and I go... There's a rock there on the edge of the cliff, and I stand on the rock to do what the dude at Topanga, at Eagle Rock, told me to do, to feel the electricity through my feet. I've started doing this.
Okay, good.
I'm not really working yet. So I'm barefooted, I'm standing on the rock, I'm looking out, and then all of a sudden, finally, I see that the cars are moving.
Yeah.
So I get back, I start walking back down, and then I hear, "Blake! It's like it's a panic. Like you weren't speaking English. You were running, you were like opening the door, and the cars were backing up behind you, but the cars in front were going, people were going around. I open the passenger side, I get in the seat. You're in the driver's seat in front of the wheel. Our friend Mike, who was sitting in the back seat, is now leaning forward over you. He wasn't in the front seat at this point, was he?
No, I think he got into the front.
Yeah, you ejected the car. He gets up into the front seat. By the time I open the door and look, I see Mike leaned over the steering wheel with his hand on the ignition, and he's going...
He's forcing it.
And I open the door, and I'm like, whoa, stop! I didn't know what was happening. And like, I couldn't... he was like a rabid dog attacking the steering column.
Well...
I didn't know what had happened. No one explained anything to me. And then I was like, whoa, don't, what are you doing? And he pulls back, and I look down, and the ignition's like this, and the key, which is supposed to be like this, is like this. The key is bent.
Now, let me tell you what happened.
Like, what have you done? I step away for 5 minutes.
So the cars start going, and I try to turn it, and it's locked up. And so then I kind of, this happens with old cars. Sometimes the ignition gets locked, so I kind of start turning. I'm like, dude, it's locked. And I'm trying to get the wheel unlocked to try to shift it in the gear. It won't go. And then Mike comes in and does... Now listen, I don't know who bent the key. We both tried to turn it pretty hard. All we knew was we couldn't get the key out of the ignition. We had bent it, and we were stuck on this mountain. I was out now directing traffic, because we got these people coming around this mountain pass. I'm directing traffic around, and I'm beginning to have this sinking feeling like we are going to be stuck on this mountain. We are a few hours away from anyone who can help us. It's a Sunday afternoon, and we're going to be stuck on this mountain. We don't have cell service.
Saving grace is the construction guy comes over and says, if you go over there, you can get cell service. So we turn our phones on, and you were able to get cell service. So you used to call AAA. You start calling people.
I didn't call AAA. I called several locksmiths, because Mike said, we need to call a locksmith because he could figure out something with the key. Don't call AAA, because that means we're going to get towed and our camping trip is over.
Right.
I called 5 locksmiths. I get the answering machine for all of them. They're not working. They're like, I'm going to unlock anything on a Sunday.
And I can get on the internet, so at the same time, I'm searching 92 Ford Bronco, looks awesome, 2 different colors, brown, guys in it look cool, won't start on side of mountain, key won't turn.
You find several things that we try, but nothing works.
Nothing's really coming up. Maybe
an hour passes.
Too many words.
We've done several cycles of cars. I've been directing people around, just defeated. It's hot. I'm out there getting sunburned. Then
we're gonna have to camp right there. We're thinking.
I'm like, listen, I'm calling AAA. And Mike's like, hold on, let me call my friend, my mechanic friend Craig back in Fuquay. I'm like, well, why didn't you come up with this idea before? So he gets Craig on the phone, and Mike was.
Thank goodness he
Mike
answered.
talked to Craig, and I'm just going to imagine what the conversation went like, because I could hear it from Mike's side.
Yeah.
He was like, "Hey, we got this situation. We this Bronco. We can't start it." And then Mike starts going, Hit it with a hammer. Hit the key with a hammer. So Craig was saying, "Listen, all you got to do, very simple. Just take a hammer and hit the key with a hammer. Just tap on the key with a hammer. Right around the ignition. Just tap it a little bit, tap it on the end, and it'll start right up. This is kind of like 11th hour, like hopeless advice. You're like, what?
Yeah,
With a
like,
hammer?
what?
But we're like, we got a hammer. We have 2 hammers for putting the tent stakes in.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
Mike takes a hammer, taps it all around.
He's like
the ignition,
Michelangelo.
all around on the key.
And we're just like total silence, like waiting.
And then he's like, all right. Totally free. But now it won't start.
Like, you gotta be kidding me.
And then I was like, no, hold on, no, this is the fuel pump issue. Stop! Turn it back. Turn it to on. Wait 3 seconds. Now do it.
His eyes were like this big. We were like looking at each
And he was
other.
like, the Bronco starts up. We did a victory dance.
Mike gets out of the front seat. You're running around to get in the front seat. I'm running around back. There's like girls who've been sitting behind us in this other car watching the whole time. Mike and I embrace.
I just saw you guys hugging on the
We
side
were like
of the mountain.
embracing each other in the back of behind the Bronco. We did it. And then we look and these girls are like, and then we get in the truck. We drive off. We drive down the mountain 2 hours. Go into the valley. Need to stop and get something to drink. We're like, hold up, don't stop the truck. We've got to drive 3 hours up the other mountainside so that we can camp where we want to camp. There was no, maybe we shouldn't do that. It was, we're going to do that. So then for the next, we didn't stop. We didn't stop.
I didn't turn the
running.
car off the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And then once we parked at the campsite, I didn't take the key out of the ignition. Everywhere we parked for the rest of the weekend, we kept the key in the ignition and just hoped no one would steal all our stuff. Anyway, the moral of the story
and the key is still in the ignition now, right?
The moral of the story is you should get a 20-year-old vehicle and you should take it to the top of a mountain and see what happens. Live a little bit.
Yeah. And if it's 2 different colors of brown, that's better.
More interpretive dancing. Is it my turn to interpret a dance or is it your turn to interpret a dance?
I think it's my turn.
Okay. Just when they thought it was okay. Just when they thought they were going to make it down the hill in the dookie brown Bronco, fate struck a chord. Chord! The key was lodged in the ignition like a fat badger stuck in his burrowing hole. Until they tapped the badger on the knee with a hammer. And he began to loosen up. He was no longer tense. And he said to himself, you know what? I think I'm going to turn here. And we'll go down the mountain. In a flurry of male embraces.